Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, co-author of Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors Volume 3, Munira Zahabi.
Munira. I am the CEO and founder of Kismet Ventures. I am here with Kelly Carrigan. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Kelly.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Munira. Yes, my name's Kelly Carrigan. I am an assertiveness coach, and my business is Empower Me Coaching. And I help people pleasers calm the chaos in their life so that they can live a balanced life. So what is a people pleaser? So a people pleaser is that person who gives and gives, who overgives with their time, with their energy, that they are so busy putting other people's needs before their own that they just feel depleted. They feel like they're on the hamster wheel of life. And no matter how hard they try, they can never get ahead, and they're just feeling exhausted and depleted. So I'm helping them take charge of their life, step into their personal power, learn some skills that they need to put themselves first so they can feel abundant, they can feel balanced, and they can feel very confident in who they are. So that's just a little bit about what I do. It's not really about me per se, but does that answer your question?
Yes, but the thing is, I didn't know there was such a thing, right? But we all give, as women, we give so much to our families, to our work, and we forget to put ourselves first. A few months ago, I went to a seminar, and the first thing the lady said that you're on a plane and it's going to crash. And the oxygen mask comes down. What are you going to do? And of course, the first thing that you have, the first thing is thought you have is I'm gonna help the people next to me. Like, no, the first thing you do is put the mask on yourself. And that's exactly what you do. And so I'm smiling because for a long time, I never put myself first. And I think there's countless of people out there who do the same, and they need to learn this.
Right, absolutely.
Thank you so much for being on my show. I really am humbled and honored to have you. A little bit about myself, and the reason I do these shows is I'm a niche navigator. I look for people who are looking for their niches, and then I help them target. Then I also look, and in my travels and in my search for people who I can find and help, I find people like you who are doing so many valuable things, enhancing other people's lives. So I said, I'm going to do this interview show on Munira's Musings, and I'm going to help people expose themselves, promote themselves in a funny sort of way, if you will. The funny, because when I say expose, people laugh at me. But the thing is, I didn't know there was a coach for that, right? So how many people out there need your services but don't know there's a service that exists? And if they look at your profile, your name doesn't say it all, the name of your business. So if I don't interview you, people don't know. So that's what I bring this as a service to most of my coach friends and consultants, and just help put the word out there, because I know what you're doing is of need to somebody else, and somebody else needs you so they can contact you. Thank you again for being on my show.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome.
I have a little frog in my throat, so I'm gonna ask you, how did you find your niche?
Oh, that is a really great question. And I think like most coaches, entrepreneurs, it probably takes a little while to find the niche. So, how I started is I was living in that place of frustration. I felt like, how come it's so easy for everybody else to get what they want, but yet it seems so hard for me to get what they want? And I felt like I was living in a spot where I could find happiness when everybody else was happy. And I was waiting for my husband to deal with his stuff that was going on. And, if my friends were just a little nicer to me, my life would be so much better. And why me? So I, about 6 years ago, I met my coach, and it's a mutual friend of ours, Nick Pereira. And I had heard, like, the term life coach was fairly new to me. And I had asked Nick, I was like, Nick, how do I motivate someone else to change? That was my life-changing question. And Nick said, well, you have to be the change that you want to see in that person. So that was a realization that, OMG, I'm the one that has to do the work. And so I enrolled in coaching, and I dug, and I was just loving all the information. And, how I came to the realization is that I have learned that assertiveness skills has made the biggest and most positive impact in my life, because I was not given the communication skills and tools. I didn't learn that growing up. And it was like well into my adulthood. So assertiveness skills, and I'm working on changing many people's perspective of assertiveness, because I always ask people that I meet, what does assertiveness mean to you? And I get all kinds of different answers. And some people still believe assertiveness is aggression. However, it's not. It's the most loving way to communicate, because I value myself and my wants and wishes while respecting the other person. So assertiveness essentially is, I teach people how to say no without feeling guilty, how to set boundaries, how to communicate your boundaries, how to not take things personally. And this really does make a big impact in people's lives, because I truly believe that the quality of our relationships is directly related to the quality of our life, right? So if we don't know how to get along with others, or if we're taking things personally, or if we're feeling resentful towards another person, that really has an impact on how we feel about ourselves. It impacts our confidence, our self-esteem, our self-worth, and so on and so forth. So I know that assertiveness skills has made a huge difference in my life, and I have seen it make a huge difference in my clients' lives as well. So that's, the medium version.
The long and short of it.
Yeah.
So how did you become awareness of this assertiveness? And what was assertiveness to you, and what is it now?
Right. So I remember years ago when I was doing sales, I'm in my early 40s now. So I'm talking about my my early 30s. So about, 10, 12 years ago, I remember being in sales, and I knew that I could do so much better, but I was like, what is holding me back? And honestly, I was online at the University of Waterloo's website, and they have these continuing education courses, and they had anyway, I don't know about now, but they had assertiveness courses. And I'm like, I just need to, just be a little more sure of myself and be a little more confident. And that was the first touch points of assertiveness. So for me back then, it was being able to communicate in a way that I could get what I wanted, so that I could communicate in a way where I didn't feel like I was bulldozed all the time, because I was in that point of my life where I felt like my opinion didn't matter, my voice didn't matter, because no matter what I said, somebody else always crushed it. My idea was crushed. My opinion was crushed. And it weighed and weighed and weighed on me, right? Where it crushed me down. But now, assertiveness, when I think of assertiveness, I think of the words that come to mind is love, connection, really love and connection and fulfillment and abundance and joy and gratitude, right? That's what it all means to me now.
No, that's a very good point, because most people don't know assertiveness. This is a word that I've heard of a long time ago, but it's finally coming to light in my life right now. as well, because as I talk to a lot of people, I feel that I am assertive. And, it was pointed out a few coaches ago in one of my shows where she told me that, you're very pretty assertive. So I had to go look and see what that means for me. So it has to fit you, right, in that puzzle or frame, if you will.
Yeah.
And so you're right. Many people don't know what assertive is.
Right.
Was this because you were in sales and you were looking to find yourself in sales, or it was, your discovery, the path to discovery? Was that because of that reason you were on the University of Waterloo's page?
Well, that was, way back when, but at the time when I met Coach Nick, honestly, it was about my marriage, because I'm like, I don't know how to communicate with you. And I was like, I was just like, oh, I just need to change you. Right? That was my mentality. And it was really about my relationship. I was not feeling connected. I was not feeling valued. And I was feeling really frustrated. So really, that's what drove me, because I was just, that was my life. I was not feeling connection. I was feeling frustrated, and I wanted things to change. So yeah, it was really about my marriage and communicating. Yeah.
You bring up a very good point, because 90% of the people in that kind of a situation, regardless, especially communication, most people think that they need to change the person across from them. It's not them, it's us. We have to start here and then change. And so if we take positive steps into changing ourselves, then change automatically. You can see that happen, right? I'll tell you, my story was I used to be very hot-headed and, take things, and I could just take the world, and everything that I would do was just, I could do it all. I didn't need anybody else. But because they didn't step up to the plate. But then as I grew a little older and I stepped back, I realized that let them do it. And then, kids are the best teachers in life. So they've taught me a lot. So I just let them fall, just like they were babies. So when they fell, not literally, but if they made a mistake, they realized it made a lot of sense that, now we could see them growing up. And so that change happened gradually, and I am more calmer now. I don't get very flustered, even though when something happens, my kids always watch me and try to see if I'm going to lose it. But I don't. I just walk away. And they've seen that calmness or something, and they talk about it as you've changed a lot. But again, that assertiveness comes in is like when you try to make that change, like Nick told you, is the change you want to become, right? And that's what it is all about. But so thankful for you to share this. How long have you been in business? And what are the 3 things that you would tell a client or people who are watching this show?
Right, that's great. Yeah. So I got my life coaching certification in 2014. So I've been coaching since 2014. And it's really been the last 2 years that I've focused on helping people pleasers and really found my niche, with assertiveness, becoming assertiveness coach and helping people pleasers change their communication skills. So if there was 3 things, wow. Okay. So 3 things. Oh, there's so many. How do I pick? So one thing that we mentioned is, one thing that you had just mentioned is, creating that space by taking a step back. You're actually allowing that like energetic space for people to step up to the plate. So let me just give you an example. I just kind of, take your example a little further. Years ago, people with school-age children, I'm sure, can relate, right? When my son was younger, like, okay, we have to be out the door. 7:20, the bus is coming, you have to be out. And I was going around the house like a mad woman, like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Oh, we're going to be late. And just like flipping out. And that was that was the opposite of creating the space that my son needed to step up to the plate. So, by creating that space, that means, taking a step back, not saying anything, or saying something simple like, it's 8:20, we need to leave. And then actions speak louder than words, right? So putting on your coat, putting on your shoes, and opening the door sends a clear indication that it is time to go. So if they forget to brush their hair, brush their teeth, if they forget their water bottle, so be it. They will learn from their mistakes. So it's creating that space, right? So that they can step up to their own plate. Communicating your expectations is so key, because in our minds, we know what we're doing, we know what the plan is. However, your spouse, your kids, whether it's at work, if you don't clearly communicate your expectations, you may be setting yourself up for disappointment. Okay. So that's the second one. And, the third one that comes to mind is not taking things personal, right? It's that it's never about you, it's always about them. And, we as individuals, you are all responsible for how others treat you. So you have the personal power to make those changes. You don't have to stand by and listen to the negativity or feel bad, right? So those are some little tips.
No, thank you so much for sharing those, because those are profound tips. It's like, but we always, like, your third tip is profound because we always take it personally. We do. And as women, even more so, because we don't want to be hurt. And it really bothers us when somebody does that to us. I don't know about you, but I am like that. So you're right, don't take it personally. But thank you so much for sharing these. I'm really appreciative of you being here and sharing these tips, because these people out there need to learn these tips. They need to know what to do, and then they can find you, right? We'll have your email and your webpage out there for everybody to see, and you can share the video. So for those people who are here, thank you so much for watching. I can't see who's watching, so that I'm sorry if I don't mention your name, but those of you who are watching, I really appreciate it. I appreciate Callie for being with us. I really appreciate that. I'm honored and humbled. And for those of you who are watching and like this show, please share, subscribe. And I appreciate all of you, because you're all on a journey looking for a niche. If you are looking for assertive training, then you have Kelly here. And if you're looking for a niche, then you can look me up. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group called Navigate to Your Niche.